night. It can make our dreams a reality. It can make reality feel like our wildest dreams. Technology completely changes how we see the world, each other, and the future. With tech by our side, we have the potential to solve the world's greatest challenges. Food security, access to healthcare, sustainability, and environmental impact. The more critical the issues, the more critical the need for problem-solving tech, especially as part of our pursuit of human security for all. So, as we move forward together, we do so surrounded by the world's greatest technological advancements all in one place. More than ever, CES 2024 is the celebration of all that tech has to offer humanity. There's positive energy in the air. We move forward with both hope and confidence because we're creating solutions in a global effort to make the world a better place. We're all on for powerful connections, joyful experiences, new opportunities, and everything that tech makes possible. Right here, right now. We're all together. We're all in and all on.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Senior Vice President of CES and Membership for the Consumer Technology Association, Kinsey Fabrizio.
Thank you, and welcome to CES 2024. Artificial intelligence is the hottest topic in tech, and we are seeing that play out right here at CES across the thousands of products on our show floor. AI tools are opening new doors for innovation and collaboration. They're helping us work, learn, and live better. And they're helping us make our world more sustainable. To share more how AI is driving a fundamental shift in computing and how that's changing the world for all of us, I am thrilled to welcome Pat Gelsinger, CEO of Intel. I know. He's going to be great. Pat began his career in 1979 at Intel, becoming its first chief technology officer and leading its enterprise group during more than 3 decades with the company. After serving in executive leadership roles at VMware and EMC, he returned to be CEO in 2021 at Intel. He'll be joined by CNBC reporter Christina Partsinevelos. Christina joined CNBC in May 2021 and serves as the NASDAQ reporter for the network, covering NASDAQ movers with a focus on semiconductors. Previously, she served as a business correspondent and economist at the Fox Business Network, covering beats including technology, the White House, and the Federal Reserve. Please join me in welcoming Pat and Christina to the stage.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Pat. I'm very excited for this. I know it's late in the day, and we're in Vegas, right? So we want to get the party started. And I wanted to get the party started with asking you a bunch of questions, but I have to preface, you're in your quiet period right now, so I'm going to try my best to still pepper them in and hopefully get an answer.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
So if we're going to start with the conversation about artificial intelligence in general, and you have those that leaders seem to be taking sides, doomsdayers, maybe Elon Musk, talking about superintelligence and how it's going to outsmart humans, and then you have Zuckerberg on the other hand that maybe is taking a little bit of a softer approach. Where do you fall on that scale?
I'm an optimist, and I'll say, I'm a technology optimist, right? And
what does that mean?
Well, over 40 years now in the technology industry, just technology is this neutral platform, right? Meaning it's not good or bad, right? It's always how we shape it, how we use it. And I have this deep belief that with technology, right, and we're shaping it as a force for good, and we continue to solve problems that could have been solved before. And 40 years in the industry, I just believe that technology, including AI, we can shape it as this incredible force for good. And today, would you go to a radiologist that wasn't using AI-assisted radiology? Absolutely not. Just like you wouldn't have gone to a finance guy who didn't use a spreadsheet, right? Technology is this powerful, wonderful force that we get to shape for good.
You're using the example of technology, and you said 40 years, but AI in general is being adopted at a much faster pace. And I almost feel like many politicians, maybe all of us, are not even ready for that moment, and how to make sure that it's going to be for good and not for bad.
Yeah, well, I always think, technology is moving faster than products. Products move faster than business, and business moves faster than regulation. So regulation is always running after trying to catch up to the implications of technology for it. And I do think as we have a broader and broader influence and the world is going more digital, it becomes more incumbent upon us as technologists to be engaged in the policy discussions, in the regulatory frameworks, so that we help close that gap, that regulation is in place to support this ever-hastening pace of technology and the implications on society.
But can you trust a for-profit company to do good? Like, didn't Google get rid of their motto, do no evil, in 2015?
Well, I think, as we think about technology, right, it really is this composite, right? And, some of it's technology companies, right? Do you trust technology companies? Part of our brand is to be a trusted technology provider. But you're also trusting the academic community, right? And increasingly, and I believe a lot of the concerns around AI, we got to make it open, we got to make it accessible, we have to make it explainable, we have to make it responsible. And every day we're not doing that, we open up domains that people shouldn't trust us, and we should get challenged. So making AI, as we say at Intel, AI everywhere, but doing so through open technology access, I think that's always the key. Can I look inside? How did it make those decisions? And until we can answer those questions, show how it was good for society, how it met the regulatory domains and demonstrated consistent good, okay, we shouldn't let it in the wild.
AI everywhere, just for our audience, you've been saying that for how long now? Because I know other competitors have, entered the...
about a year.
About a year.
Right, so, I think we claim that. I think we claim the AI PC. So some of those are clearly, we're the driving force behind it. But, flattery, we love it when people copy us.
I set that up for you just so that you could drop that there. You just mentioned AI PC, so let's just pivot to that right now. And you guys are really smart. You've been covering this probably a lot longer than I have, but it seems like the definition of AI PC, AI server is still a little murky. And let's start with the server, actually. Is that the ratio of accelerators to CPUs, no longer using just an operating system, it's a platform now? Can you just describe what the heck it means?
Yeah, and when we think about this, we say, are you able to achieve certain levels of performance, right, on AI-driven workloads? And today, for instance, if I'm doing a high-end training workload, I need a GPU. CPUs aren't powerful enough to do that. But for a lot of inferencing workloads, my AI-augmented CPUs, hey, they do inferencing just fine, right, at that level. And, training, can I go train the model, or can I go use the model? How many people create weather models? Right? And you're going to find smaller models, and people today, as we're hitting trillion parameter models, they're finding ways to say, if I train it on the right data, can I get by with a 10 billion that allows me to run it on my data centers without specialized equipment at much for inference? And that seems to be a huge trend of llama, tiny models, as nimble ways, as we've described it, to be able to run it on their data for their applications.
saying that the cloud world has the curve of use is going to go like this as we become more efficient with utilizing it. We constantly have these guests on, and as you become more efficient with products from Intel.
I think there's no end in sight. Try to find new, more complex models. We move to 3D, animation, physical worlds, etc. And to bigger machines. They're just going to get. Rivals some of the early days of the PC period of time, and I'd say, for my career, we are going to build some of the greatest technology that solves for decades. As I came back to Intel, I said, PCI 5 from this is not boring. This is an exciting period of time.
You just said talk about that for a second, and the AI PC. Everyone is talking about it. A lot of you here have heard, you heard that conversation, and many promising that their AI PC is going to revolutionize the market and help the PC. And everybody's going to be, getting this on their laptop, but. Joe watching, do they care even for the next 5 to 10 years?
I've used is the early days of Wi-Fi, right? I helped to create Wi-Fi, and we sort of nothing happened with Wi-Fi, and then we that integrated Wi-Fi, and we marketed it. And the standardization into an existence a couple of years after the standards were finished. It changed the form factors. It changed the use case. Before that, I used Excel. After that, right, it became this connected thing and drove new use cases for it. Since then, 20 years later, we think of the AI abilities for AI workloads directly into the PC. We're now change the user interface. Instead of typing, I'll start talking, to it, form factors, and all of a sudden, instead of needing to access to do it on my local PC.
But then you're making the comparison with Centrino back then, bringing that to market. It seems like you have a slew of competition, and it's different.
Well, part of it is, we're first. Our age. Going to do this year, and we're excited again. Flattery, right? Is their follow. I love it because they're going to help to establish the category with the ecosystem and having the best product. And we have key partners. Obviously Microsoft Copilot is super. The Core Ultra that we announced. Their applications, they're not waiting for anybody. They're saying, "Wow, we're excited." Communications capabilities, the text transcriptions, and being, able to preserve your local data. It's I believe this is a see the ultimate Darwinian device. The Darwinian PC.
We're going to talk about everything here before you guys go party in Vegas. But if we're talking about, you went through servers, accelerators, PCs, and I just want to go back to accelerators for a moment. On December 14th, you brought up Gaudi 3. I think we were kind of expecting a little bit more.
Okay.
Can you give us a little bit more than what you spoke to, in just a few minutes? And I know you have your earnings coming up and stuff like that, but...
24, we'll be launching Gaudi 3 later this year. We have it out of fab now. It's in early test debug right now, so we're bringing it up in our labs as we speak, pushing it out to OEMs, our customers and software vendors. A few months that they can start joining us in the debug process. But so far, exquisitely good. The Habana Labs team that's driving this in Israel, machine. And
there's been no delays because of what's been going on.
And, as I said in a recent interview, Israel, the bubble on earth, and they have not missed a single. Yeah, thank you. I have 22,000 souls there between Mobileye, manufacturing, and workers. They've not missed a single commitment on wafers and products despite dealing with that situation. I'm proud of our team. They are executing super well.
So you bring up Israel, you guys. Last week, I'm sure many of you saw. They're pre-announcing the drop in sales. And again, we're the theme right now of auto-related weakness, about a weak environment, some inventory issues with customers. Ordering, hoarding, and now they're just going through it.
Where everybody was so brutalized. And everybody was sort of catching up, right, into and the bit of inventory in the channel and the tier announcement last week. And today, yesterday.
Big partner, right, with a Western.
There's probably 5 names you could associate with that. So. But, catastrophic disruption is, both the acceleration and the deceleration and the inventory problems. I believe this is sort of the last correction cycle as a business environment and as Mobileye guided.
Wait, what do you mean by?
There was such on the auto providers that everybody was building a bit more inventory because you had factories that were stopped because a $1,000 car isn't shipping because of it. And I think has some of that to do. Plus, it's been an uncertain European economy has been weak. Asia, U.S. It's just been a period of time where a lot of stuff going on. What's going on in the world?
Yeah. What about Asia? Is there anything in the market, whether it be from the mobile, a PC market? It seems like PC sales coming back, refresh, all moving as quickly as we thought.
Yeah, I think the not as strong as expected. We did okay. India, Europe, not as strong, and the holiday period. So I think when you add all of that up, it just wasn't as strong as people were hoping for, as we finish if you think as we look to this year, we think of the AI PC, we're now 4 years past, PCs were first bought, so I think that starts to come back a little bit. Operating systems is always beneficial, so we're more optimistic as
United States and talking about AI. OpenAI's rebuttal about that. I purposely rejigged it. I'm paraphrasing poorly now, but so do you believe that this is just going to catapult?
Yeah, there isn't, because if you compare search, the search engine itself never has. One of the things early in my career, write what became the net neutrality laws.
Back in, 2002 or something?
Drafted Craig Mundy, CTO of Microsoft, and
you were
myself.
Sitting there literally
wrote what became.
Well, not writing it, you were writing it on a computer. But.
And I do think that where there's going to be because when you do a large language model, essentially you're is intrinsically part of the model now as that model. So in that, what will be the legal framework against that? I think there are going to be some lawsuits here as well.
Of course.
U.S., what happens in Europe, whether this is a good one or a bad one with the New York Times to get reconciled for a way and being a laws associated with that. Use third-party information or not, and what are going to be the copyright laws associated with that?
Do you actually think there's an or not?
Well, if so, then you're going to have licensed content that gets used, right? And you're going to have to go pursue and get licenses from all of the content used in your model. Wow, right? That's going to create a whole nother cycle of what and how does that get utilized?
And helps the media market where I work, sustain our jobs.
Yeah, and we want you to have a great job. So.
Yeah, so let's not talk about that. But keeping on that conversation about regulation, and then that means that you have to be reliant on politicians and bureaucracy. We know how slow, we know how quickly AI is being adopted. So that's already they're slower than normal just because it's government. We have an election period coming, and then the adoption rate is so quick compared to any other technology phase. So how do we even come up with regulations within such a short amount of time?
Well, I don't think we will. I think the AI are racing ahead because technology is enabling it to do so, and the courts and the regulatory environment will be chasing to catch up for a while, and eventually some of those cases will come in Europe or in the US, and it will start to reestablish a framework that the world gets comfortable with about how AI is regulated, how content's regulated, and then of course we have to frame it about text on the internet, right? It's going to be about a much broader corpus of information as well going into those models. So I do think there's going to be a big set of legal work that will occur here, but I'm actually, as we started the conversation, an optimist. We'll figure it out.
You are the leader of a large corporation making money. Of course you're going to be optimistic.
Yes. Is that bad?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Good. Just checking.
Not at all. but of course, I know. I almost didn't want to ask you that question to start off because I knew your answer, and you know the answer from a lot of tech leaders that of course are going to be optimistic, because if you're not optimistic, you're not making money, sales, you're not employing all the people, and we wouldn't all be here listening to you.
But it's more important than that, because these AI use cases are demonstrating such extraordinary economic value, right? It isn't just that, we're going to make money or the other technology providers are going to make money associated with it. You're creating new economic value, right? We're taking use cases, and having 10, 100,000, 10,000x productivity improvements. This is stunning as a result. And because there's so much economic value in these use cases, the world is motivated to figure it out.
That productivity level, is that productivity something that is going to immediately come, a company will be extremely efficient, and then after that you're going to see a much smaller increment in, I'm not using the terminology properly, but I feel like there's an analogy with Moore's Law that your productivity is not going to keep growing as much, so it'll be this big bang now, maybe over the next decade, and then boom, we're on to something else.
Yeah, I think when we first introduced the internet, right, businesses and new ways to reach customers, it was sort of this decade-long cycle. I think the AI cycle is at least that big. And sort of domain by domain, we're going to find the economic value going to get developed. We're going to get past the models hallucinating and building more and more confidence in what they do. But yeah, I think we're going to be in a 10+ year cycle of figuring it out in different industries, and it's going to be quite thrilling.
So if we were to compare an AI model within the cloud and an enterprise user versus an AI model that we are eventually going to use on our phones, is the phone side going to change the economics, or on the edge, I should say, because of AI PCs? How is that going to change the economics of everything, given how expensive it is on the cloud?
Well, part of it is, I call it the 3 laws of edge computing. Whether that's your phone, whether that's the in-store computing, whether that's your personal computer. The first is laws of economics, right? It's cheaper to do it in your device. You bought the device, I'm running it locally, I'm not renting cloud servers to do that. It's on my device. Second is the laws of physics. If I have to round trip the data to the cloud and back, okay, it's not going to be as responsive as I can do locally. And the third is the laws of the land, right? Because am I going to take my data to the cloud, or am I going to keep it on my local device? Am I going to take my real data, my supply chain data, my local camera data to the cloud or not? And a lot of that's going to be regulated in some fashion or another. Or I, as the user, say, I'm not comfortable, right, with that data going to the cloud. So I think those 3 laws of economics, laws of physics, and laws of the land will drive more of these AI use cases to the devices that we use across the edge. And that's part of what we mean when we say AI everywhere, right? We're going to push it and enable all of these devices locally. And maybe I don't need 100 languages on my local device. I just need the 2 that I need. And when I don't have that language, okay, I'll go to the cloud and download that additional model. I want it to work on my data if I'm the enterprise. I don't want all of my data, my factory data, my supply chain data going to the cloud. I want it to be operated on locally in my environment.
But if it's locally, how do companies like Intel continue to make money? I think of a phone, right? My phone is maxed out, so I got to pay money to...
Sell more PCs, sell more servers.
No, but I mean adding applications. Like right now with a cell phone, you have so many, you got to pay for saving all your photos because it doesn't fit on your phone, and you can transfer, so now I'm paying a monthly fee. And then that's putting it back on the cloud. So for a company like Intel, if it's going to be all localized, how do you add that incremental revenue when everything's there and it's a fixed cost, they buy the AI PC and done?
I think this is going to be a thrilling time. Cases emerging, right? That all of the economic implications, we're going to be enjoying this for many CESs to come. We have a lot of innovation to do. And part of what does, when you run these models, it's compressing it into smaller and smaller form factors, so I'm able to, get more intelligence locally with smaller and smaller footprints and models. And that's part of the magic of AI. We're just getting started.
Oh, look at that. It's almost as if you're a professional at this, because the clock is seconds, and that is a great way to end our conversation.
We are just getting started.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Pat. I'll shake your hand. It was good. That was great. That was great.
Thank you.
Thank you both so much. Wasn't that great? Yes. Well, over the past several years, we've seen a revolution in healthcare-focused technology. Thanks to new digital health tools, we're seeing health become more personalized, accessible, and intelligent. From the fitness trackers on our wrist to the telehealth platforms that connect us with doctors and therapists. Now, I'm a huge fan of digital health at CES. Beyond excited to welcome our next keynote speaker, Gail Boudreaux. and CEO of Elevance Health. Yes, you can do that. Named one of Fortune's 100 most powerful women in business, she leads their work that serves some 117 million people, bringing more than 3 decades of experience in the healthcare industry. Gail is focused on transforming Elevance Health from a traditional health benefits company to a lifetime trusted health partner. She'll be joined on stage by Dr. Peter Lee, Vice President of Research and Incubations at Microsoft. Peter leads Microsoft's research in areas like AI, computing foundations, health, and life sciences. Previously, he served in leadership roles at DARPA, the Department of Defense's Advanced Research Project Agency, and as a professor in computer science at Carnegie Mellon University. Please join me in welcoming Gail and Peter to the stage.
Well, it's incredibly exciting to be here and really an honor to share the stage with you, Gail. As we just heard, one of the most powerful business leaders in the country and certainly, of course, doing some of the most important work. Maybe we should just start by quickly introducing ourselves. As you just heard, I'm Peter Lee, and I lead research at Microsoft. I've been there for 13 years, although I had a at first I thought Satya Nadella, our CEO, was sending me to purgatory to reimagine our healthcare technology business at Microsoft. And so that ended up actually being a real gift and has brought me into this space. Gail?
Great. Well, it's fantastic to share the stage with you, Peter. We had the pleasure of actually having you join our leadership group at our summit most recently, and it was absolutely invigorating for our leaders. Gail Boudreau, CEO and President of Elevance Health. You heard a little bit about what we are trying to do there, but I always love to start with our purpose, which is very different than you would think of from a company that started its history in the benefit space, and that's to improve the health of humanity. And our goal there, and we're going to talk a lot about this, how exciting it is, and sort of the point of transformation that